Hey guys, welcome back to DC Extra. My name is Chris. Today we're going to be breaking down the Dark Crisis comics for August. So in this month we have 4 new comics, that being Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 3, Dark Crisis Worlds Without a Justice League, Green Lantern, Dark Crisis Young Justice issue 3, and The Flash issue 785. Now let's get into the first comic, that being Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths issue 3. After the events of Dark Crisis issue 2, the remaining heroes of Earth struggle with both the League's death but also Deathstroke's warning against anyone who tries to stand against him and his secret society. A variety of heroes from the Titans and elsewhere all meet at the hospital after Beast Boy was shot last issue. They discuss some of the events of the Dark Crisis events so far, including the disappearance of Young Justice. Black Adam trains John's new Justice League back from issue 1 of Dark Crisis. However, his methods of training them are somewhat questionable, and John stands his ground to stop Adam killing. Most of the League decide to leave in favor of helping their own families. However, just before this, Wonder Girl shows up. John and Damian argue about their motivations and what they will do next. However, they are interrupted by the Justice Society of America, who offers their help. Slade's daughter Rose, aka Ravager, gets caught and has a conversation with her father. He asks Rose to join him, but she refuses and runs away. But not before watching Slade. Well, I'm not sure what is exactly happening here, but I think he may have consumed some people's darkness. I don't know, it's Dark Crisis, why the hell not? Meanwhile, the Green Lanterns continue their investigation of the death of the Justice League, which leads them face to face with Pariah. Pariah claims that each hero from Earth Zero is a world themselves, which is evident through the various symbols of the Justice League on floating Earths. Pariah says that he would use the heroes to rebuild the multiverse. This here could explain what Clark and Arthur experienced in Worlds Without a Justice League Superman. Pariah claims that his goals and the goals of the darkness do not align, but also says that he controls the darkness, which Hal doesn't agree with. Hal enters one of the worlds that Pariah was holding, the one with a Green Lantern symbol on it. Once inside, he sees a city of what appears to be of Green Lantern creation, apparently called Sector John Stewart. Bit weird, but moving on. After failing to train the heroes to his way of thinking, Black Adam seeks out help in the Legion of Doom. And it looks like Flash's rogues are along for the ride also. Now moving on to Worlds Without a Justice League, Green Lantern. At the start of this comic, we get some information on what happened to the Justice League, and this confirms what I previously theorized, that the Justice League is not dead, but imprisoned in these worlds. Some members of the Green Lantern Corps are fighting some aliens, but after struggling they call on John Stewart's help. We learn that John has given up being a Green Lantern in favor of having a normal life. However, after being called on by the other Lanterns, he leaves once again. We also learn that John's sister died, but in order to protect the central battery, John used his memory of his sister to hide it in the form of her. Kinda weird, but you gotta really read it in order to understand. John helps defeat the aliens from earlier, and then returns to Earth to be with his family. I should mention one of the aliens had an Omega symbol on their chest, which is often associated with Darkseid, so there might be some sort of correlation here, but who knows. We then move on to the second half of this issue, where we focus on Kendra, aka Hawkgirl. Kendra discovers a temple called the Temple of Life and enters it. Kendra claims that she wants to get her mortality back after feeling inferior due to her ability to reincarnate. After using the Vase of Mortality, Kendra loses the memories of her past life, achieving the mortality she seeked out. Just when she gains mortality, she is attacked and her life is at stake. However, she fights off these skeletal attackers and walks away. The comic ends with Pariah laughing, in classic bad guy fashion of course. Now moving on to Dark Crisis Young Justice issue 3. Picking up from last issue, Robin, Impulse and Superboy are confronted by Deathstroke, Captain Boomerang and Lex Luthor, who hold Wonder Girl captive. In the process of defeating the villains, Bart notices that when he uses his powers, there are so-called tracking lines leading to Cassie, further evidence for this not being their reality. Impulse and Superboy get into a fight over how to find answers. Eventually, Impulse gains partial support from Robin, who believes there is something wrong, but doesn't think Cassie has anything to do with it. The boys part ways, and once again, Impulse notices some weird stuff when he uses his powers. Like reality has to load, similar to a computer program. That's how it's explained anyway. Cassie talks to Bart and tells him that he should give up his investigation and enjoy this new world, but he disagrees. Next, Cassie pays a visit to Tim, but he also disputes her offering in this new world. On her final stop, Cassie tries to convince Connor to stay in this world, but in the process makes him realize that she isn't real. After each conversation, she clicks her fingers and we next see the boys on the watchtower. Bart explains his experiences of witnessing the world like a simulation, but before they can figure out what is going on, a bunch of other heroes attack them. Now moving on to The Flash, issue 785. This issue opens up on Linda going after Irie and Jay to rescue them after they recklessly went through the portal into, well, wherever it leads, different multiverse, whatever it is. A boy explains to Irie and Jay who Night Flash is, and through that they are able to determine they are in the wrong universe. Max and Jesse help the version of Barry they stumbled across in the last issue. They help him escape with a magical pearl. We don't really know too much about this pearl and what it does, but yeah, he has a pearl. Wally is in the process of getting beat up by another version of Barry, but Linda comes and helps him. Through Linda's help, Barry is able to remember his life, and after Wally tells him about the League's death, he figures out that they may be alive and on another world, just like he is. So this version of Barry is Earth Zero's Barry, the one we are used to. Barry plans to find the League and save them, while Wally goes back to protect the Earth. Jay and Irie fight Night Flash, and while they're in a battle, Jay Garrick comes to their aid. Night Flash explains that he isn't the villain, but Knives. The kid that helps Jay and Irie earlier is actually a crime boss affected by some chemicals Barry was, but it allowed him to age backwards instead of gaining super speed. Wallace is confronted by people from his past, including his dead father, but he realizes that what he is seeing isn't real, and with the help of Wally, Barry, and Linda, they escape that Earth and head back home, where they are greeted by everyone else. And those are all the comics for this week, so now let me just quickly review each of them. As for Dark Crisis issue 3, this really started this month off strong. I absolutely loved this issue from start to end. The conflict between the various characters was great to see, but also how severe things have gone on Earth and how they will continue to worsen. The new team of heroes stepping up alongside the JSA will make for some great fun, as well as Black Adam teaming up with the Legion of Doom. As for the Green Lantern story, I was slightly confused, but it has lots of potential. It's safe to say I'm looking forward to the next issues of this series. As for Worlds Without a Justice League Green Lantern, this was once again quite interesting. We followed the events of John and Kendra, however I don't think it revealed as much as last issue did, just merely confirmed what we already knew. There was that bit at the very end where Pariah appeared and was laughing at something, presumably the fact that Kendra gave up her ability to reincarnate. But apart from that, this was a cool story to follow for the two members of the Justice League. As for the Young Justice comic, this issue answered a lot of questions I had about the reality the boys were in, without giving away all the answers at once. I would have liked to see more of the Cassie and Sissy back in the real world, but overall I think this was a decent issue. Definitely not as good as some of the other ones, but I still found it enjoyable. And as for Flash 785, I absolutely loved this once again. All the loose ends from the previous issues were tied up, with the multiple versions of Barry being doppelgangers. And then finding Earth Zero's Barry was cool as well. The interactions between each of the characters are always great to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Wally reacts to Linda's powers, as I didn't really touch on this too much. But anyway, that was it for this month, so I hope you did enjoy, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content like this. And if you want to stay up to date on everything DC and more, head over to my Twitter account, linked in the description below. But until next time, this has been Chris, and I'll be seeing ya.